Most disturbing things discovered in forests.
James Schoeffler was a U.S. Forest Service officer in Utah. In April of 2012, he was conducting a routine patrol of a popular scenic hiking trail deep in the forest. He was about halfway through his walk when he noticed a tripwire strung between two trees at the entrance of a small deadwood shelter along the trail.
Ooh.
He followed the wire and was led to a ball made of rocks and sharpened sticks hanging in the air, which was set.
Definitely a trap. Definitely a trap someone set up, but question is who and are they around? I don't know.
After further inspection, another trap was found at a second entrance to the small shelter.
Same trap.
This one was a bed of sharpened sticks placed facing upward in the ground. Again, a tripwire was set in front of it, which this time was pulled tight and would have forced a person to fall directly into the sticks.
Oh my god.
Police were called and informed of the dangerous and potentially deadly traps. Soon they would begin conducting interviews of hikers in the area within the last few days.
I don't know who thought of this, but this is crazy. Like, the fact that someone thought to make this is insane. I don't know, man.
This would lead them to two teenagers. They would confess to setting them up. However, they argued the traps were set for animals.
These were not meant for animals. And yeah, this guy looks like he might. Yeah. This guy looks like he would do that shit.
The nature of the traps was clearly made for a person. Plus, they were set way too close to a popular hiking trail that receives a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
More specifically,
they're trying
at
to kill
the entrances
people,
to a
man.
small shelter, which easily would have attracted a curious child or unsuspecting tourist.
That is insane.
In 2017, Ivan, a 30-year-old man from Russia, abruptly went missing on a solo hike in the Shatur district of Moscow. When he initially didn't come back, his family reported his absence to the police, and a search of the surrounding woods later commenced. But no results came from this search, and it was eventually called off with no findings whatsoever.
Wow.
Fast forward 2 years later to 2019, and a hiker in the same area called in to report the found remains of a human skeleton halfway buried under leaves. This human skeleton was later confirmed to be of Ivan.
What is that on the outside, though? Is that shackles and shit and chains? What? Is this real photos or?
Finding so disturbing, though, is what was found with the skeleton.
Okay.
Tied to the remains and nearby trees were multiple sets of handcuffs, locks, and
Oh,
chains.
handcuffs, locks.
Ivan's
What? They chained them up. Why is there so many? Why do you need that many? What the hell? Like, if you're gonna do the job, why do you need so much? That's so weird, bro.
He was attempting an isolated Houdini-type escape, chaining himself up and trying to free himself without any help. And that this ultimately went horribly wrong.
Oh, he put himself down there and he was trying to. Okay, I see. Oh, that's so crazy. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
One of his friends even later stated that this type of stunt was something he could see Ivan doing, as he would often practice survival skills in extreme conditions.
Survival skills. You
Others
would not
believe
need to
Ivan
do
was
this.
murdered, and that the crime scene was simply set up after
This
the
is an
fact,
extreme
so that it would look
situation.
like it was a tragic accident. Ivan's official cause of death hasn't been determined.
Yeah, we don't really know, but it's probably that.
It's May of 2016. A man is walking a private forest trail in Harlan County in Kentucky. Suddenly, he sees something on the ground just slightly off the trail path. He gets closer and sees it's a trail camera. Trail cameras are waterproof outdoor cameras that are typically motion activated, with the purpose being to record wildlife.
Yeah, why
Most
do
of
you
them
have
even
that,
have
though?
night vision capabilities. They're a somewhat common sight in the forest.
I've never seen that, though. I'm not gonna lie. I would be sketched out if I seen this. This looks like a walkie-talkie, kind of. I wouldn't know what this is, like me. And I go on trails kind of a lot, but I wouldn't know what the hell this is, to be honest with you. I'm glad I'm watching this shit.
Although, this camera didn't have any memory card or batteries inside. It looked like it was abandoned, and so the man decided to take it with him.
Okay.
Later, the man recalls giving the camera to a friend. When his friend put batteries in the camera, an explosion immediately went off inside of it.
What?
The trail camera was rigged with explosives that were set to go off the second batteries were installed.
Oh.
The explosion was large enough to blow off some of the man's fingers and cause injury to his stomach.
Wow.
Police launched an investigation and found another camera on the trail rigged to explode. Eventually, the cameras were traced back to a man named Mark Sawaf, who was immediately identified as a suspect. Police were granted a search warrant to his home.
Why would you
they found
do that,
all the
though?
equipment used to create the explosives, along with a note that read, "Broken camera for a broken soul."
What? Bro, this guy's a psychopath, bro. These guys don't even know you. And you just did that? Broken camera for a broken soul? Imagine you putting in, like, a battery into something and then it just explodes and your fingers are gone. How would you do that, though? I don't know. I don't get it.
In response, police would take Mark back out into the forest and have him detail the locations of the remaining live explosive devices. But while in the forest with police, Mark would lunge at one of the officer's pistols in a last-ditch effort to get away. The physical altercation would result in Mark being fatally shot.
Yeah.
Mark never revealed where his remaining trail cameras were before his death.
Oh, no.
Although, police believe there are numerous others within a 5-mile radius of those Kentucky woods, all of which just waiting to be discovered by some unfortunate person.
Damn. Okay, I'm not touching anything. When I go out, I'm not touching anything.
In
Man.
July of
What
1968,
the fuck?
a group of women were at a picnic table near their lake
What?
house at Lake Michigan. They were playing cards together and having a good time, when they were interrupted by an overbearing stench. It got so bad that the women began struggling to breathe, forcing them to cut their game short. They assumed a dead animal must have been nearby.
It's like poison gas or something? Nah, it's poison gas or something.
Chauncey headed out to those woods, but instead of finding a dead animal, he followed the stench to another cabin he oversaw around half a mile away. He forced himself through the horrible odor closer towards the front door, but he quickly realized something was wrong.
What
He
happened?
noticed holes in the glass of the windows. He glanced inside one of them and saw a woman's remains lying on the floor.
Oh, what? No way. Are these things like actually real, bro? There's no way these stories are real, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. This sounds like a movie or something.
Horrified, Chauncey ran away and called the police. Police arrived at the scene.
Oh no, this
and a
might be
total of
real.
6
Then
bodies were
these photos
discovered.
look legit.
It was
6
every member
bodies?
of the Robeson family.
Oh wow.
No one had seen them in weeks, but the family had told others they were planning on a trip out of town.
Yeah, they're definitely
before no one
targeted.
questioned it. Police concluded that they had been killed at least a month earlier.
A month?
Investigations into who could have done this didn't turn up much. There
What?
wasn't much evidence at the scene, and the family didn't have any known enemies. The most prominent suspect was an employee of Mr. Robeson, but this man would never be tried in court. Over 50 years later, it's still unknown who's responsible for the Robeson family murders.
Maybe. Let's see. No, because if there's a gun, you'd be able to see it. I'm just trying to think if someone executed the whole family, like, then killed themselves. That's different. Definitely targeted, though. That's not random.
Matt Bell and a coworker were doing excavation work in the woods of Danville, Arkansas, when they came across a 32-pound old round ball in the ground. Matt thought it was an old cannonball from the Civil War and decided to take it home with him.
What? Why would
The
you
thing
take
was
it home?
dirty, so he
What?
pressure washed the ball to try and clean it up a bit. While he was drying it on his counter, he
Is that
snapped some
shit?
pictures of it.
It's like shit.
The next day, he went to a Civil War museum to verify the object's authenticity. This is where he was informed that it wasn't a cannonball at all, rather a Civil War-era pressure-activated landmine that was still active.
There's a landmine
Matt
that
was
was
forced to take the
active?
explosive back home, where he called police. 20 homes in the nearby area were evacuated, and a bomb squad was called.
What? I never seen a landmine before. I'm pretty sure they do not look like that. They look like, aren't they like flat? But that was still active, bro, and you brought it outside and shit. What the fuck? That is insane, bro.
The explosive was carefully taken to a landfill where it was safely set off. Matt recalls his coworker throwing the mine to him out of a ditch when they first found it. That, along with multiple car rides and being pressure washed, Matt is extremely lucky the landmine didn't explode on him.
Yeah. You pressure washed it? What the fuck?
In July of 2016, a construction worker was doing routine maintenance on the right lane of a section of road on Interstate 985 located in Georgia. At one point during his shift, the man had to relieve himself, and so he started walking into the forest just next to him. He got about 80 yards in when he noticed a large object on the ground. As he got closer, he realized it was a suitcase. Curious, he zipped it open.
Oh no, please don't tell
Inside,
me.
he saw a human skull.
Oh shit.
Immediately, the man ran back to the highway and told his supervisor, who then told the police. When they arrived, the man showed them to...
What else would it be if it's a suitcase like that in the forest, man? Come on, man. That's pretty obvious, though. I'm not touching no suitcase in the forest. That's definitely nothing to be... Shouldn't be tampering with that, man.
A full set of bones were discovered along with the skull. Later analysis would reveal them to be of a woman, most likely in her 20s or 30s at the time of death. It's assumed she died around 6 months before the discovery. Fast forward to 2019, and police now believe they've identified the woman as Jessica Mancini from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She was originally reported missing by her mother back before the suitcase's discovery. However, how she died,
How did her head
who's
get in
responsible,
there, though?
are both still unknown to this day.
Till this day? Nah. It's a cold case?
In 1986,
The fuck?
19-year-old Christopher Knight vanished from his home in Maine to live in the woods for no apparent reason. For food, Christopher would steal from dozens of different cottages and camps around the area. During his break-ins, he would also take things like clothing, camping gear, propane tanks, batteries, and other stuff. People in the area were quickly made aware of his presence. Some even started intentionally setting out supplies for the guy just so he wouldn't break into their homes during the night. But even though his means of living were pretty well known in the area, if one thing was certain, he did not want to be found. Christopher went to extreme lengths to cover his tracks. For example, he would opt to never start a fire so that the smoke wouldn't reveal his camp's position in the woods. Winters would get extremely cold at around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but still Christopher didn't start a fire, instead opting to cover himself in multiple sleeping bags. But as the years passed and security cameras became more common, Christopher's break-ins would eventually start showing up on security camera footage. Finally, 27 years after he left his home in Maine, he unknowingly tripped a surveillance sensor while routinely stealing food from a camp. Police were alerted and showed up to the scene.
He was stealing food from a camp
Christopher
the
was
whole
still
time.
there, and the first human contact he had in years would be him being arrested.
What?
Police had finally found and caught the man responsible for thousands of burglaries in the area. Eventually, Christopher would show police his camp. It was filled with decades worth of stolen goods.
This ain't that disturbing, bro. He's just he's just a thief. Mattresses, all that shit. Oh, man.
It's April 26th, 2021. The police department in Anchorage, Alaska received a disturbing phone call. The caller reports a freezer in the forest, found buried halfway into the ground.
A freezer
Inside
in
of
the
it,
forest.
a body.
Oh, okay.
Police rush out to the scene, and from the highway are led deep into the woods where the freezer was once again located. They opened it and were able to confirm the caller's claims. A few months later, police released more information about the finding. The man inside the freezer was 67-year-old Michael Tiefteller, who had lived nearby.
Wow.
Police were unable to identify how he was killed.
What would you do if you seen a freezer in a forest, though? Like, why else would it be in the forest, right? Like, like what is it doing in the forest, bro? I mean, obviously this is not funny, but like, if you seen it, like, you know what I mean? What else can it be? You know, like, it's there for a reason. It's not
He lived
random.
an isolated life. The last time he was known to be alive was 3 years prior in 2018, so it really could have been anywhere in that time frame. Whoever did this hasn't been found, and with nothing to go off of, this case was classified as cold, essentially from the beginning.
So if we learn anything today, stay out the forest, guys. Alright. Deuces.